Hello, Misfits, and welcome back to the world of Aurelia. You are listening to episode 55 of the current campaign and our very last episode of the Epilogue. I hope you've enjoyed our story and can't wait till the next adventure.
Oh, this is pretty. Stop!
Okay,
I cannot.
are we ready?
No.
Yeah, no, but yeah.
Let's do it.
Ready from a practical perspective.
Yeah, not so much emotionally.
Okay, so the last time we were all together, you guys started tying up some loose ends and went and visited Canarath and Karak's family and kind of finally dealt with his uncle and that whole situation. And that's finally taken care of, and we can kind of close that little chapter there. Now, let's see. It's probably been about 4 or 5 months since the battle. Probably about 3 or 4 months since the feast at Canarath. So, at this moment, you guys are boarding Harpy's Bane, which is docked in Romrath, along with a number of guests, namely Lox and Yeg and Leaf and Beck, and they're guests for this wedding. Is there anything that you guys would have done immediately after the battle, or just sort of mosey around? Any stops on the booze cruise that you guys want to talk about that we maybe hadn't gotten to yet?
I just have a question, because this just popped in my head. So, Lox, Blaze's whole family, they're all changelings. Is Yeg a changeling as well?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so there's no last names to be...
No.
Okay.
There's no last names to get.
Period. Okay. That just popped in my head. Go ahead.
It's a fair question. Alright. Well, then, I know you... Here, let me pull up what you texted me quickly.
Oh, the speech?
No. So, as you guys board Harpy's Bane with everybody else in tow, there are a couple other people that will be joining you. There are a few friends from Lox's days in school growing up, and some people that she works with. Her business has been doing quite well, actually. And Yeg has a couple co-workers that are sort of dressed to be groomsmen, and Lox's friends are dressed to be bridesmaids. Some of the other people aboard the ship would be, of course, Ash's brothers, Yeg's parents, you guys, the crew of the Harpy's Bane, obviously, and there is a very probably around Leaf's age, sort of drow young gentleman that is also in the crowd. A couple more co-workers of Yeg's, and as you guys are kind of finishing up, checking off who is here and getting ready to leave, you see, dressed very poshly, with a familiar sort of black parasol, Escher, kind of walking up. Oh, hello. Yes, is this the booze cruise that I've heard so much about?
Not quite.
Not quite. What do you mean? There seems to be quite a gathering here. Is there a party going on and you didn't invite me?
There's a wedding.
A wedding! Oh, I love weddings. The last one I went to, the bride threw herself off the battlements. This would be great. I've never seen one that's like, not shrouded in death. This would be fantastic.
It's been a hot minute since he's been to a wedding.
Asher, just don't cause a scene. Get on.
Okay. Don't cause a scene. Do you mind if Well, hang on 1 second, because I can't really be alone at these things. Just pardon a second. And he steps over and seems to be casting something.
No.
And a few moments later, teleporting onto the ship is Zephyr. And he immediately looks very, very confused. What? You said people were in danger. You said there was a... Is nobody's life threatened in this moment? Have you lied to me?
I'm just laughing.
People could always be in danger. Just have a seat. Grab yourself something to drink. We'll be fine. And Escher sort of shows himself the way onto the ship.
Bruh.
Why is that so amazing?
He said, I got a date, just what?
So Harpy's Bane takes off, and is there any particular I'll ask you, Bigler, is there any particular destination or sort of backdrop you want this ship to kind of have, or the surrounding area?
I mean, I was definitely thinking like sunset, so we're loading kind of like late-ish in the day, right? I don't know. Just like the sky and the sea.
Okay.
I feel like that's cool. Very, very, pretty.
Absolutely. Easily done. So you do that, you sort of head that way, and as the sun starts to set, the blue sky kind of shifts to pale pinks and oranges, and all this time while you guys have been flying and kind of reaching the desired backdrop, last minute preparations are made, flowers are being put out, guests are shown to their seats, all of that stuff. And the wedding starts to commence. The groomsmen kind of all get in place, Ash, you being one of them. Are you wearing anything particular, or...
Well, I didn't tell you this, I feel like I would walk locks.
Oh, yeah.
Too,
Oh, yeah.
right?
No, you're so right. You
So-
probably would.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just in, like, the regular standard groomsmen regalia. Nothing special.
Sure.
Like, it's not my day, right? So.
So the groomsmen get in place, and then one by one, the bridesmaids enter, and lastly, you walk locks down the aisle. She's one of those people that kind of, keeps a firm grip on her emotions. She's not one to like cry or get emotional. She's gonna save that for later, probably when people aren't around and watching. But for like the ceremony itself, she's pretty like on top of things, because that's Locks. Yeg, on the other hand, not really one of those people. So he's kind of a mess, but it's very cute. It's very sweet. Yeah, and they commence with the wedding, say their speeches, say their vows, and it goes off without a hitch. But once the wedding is over, the after party must begin. So,
Booze
there's
Cruise
a point-
2.0.
yeah. So chairs are moved around, tables are set up, and the main deck of Harpy's Bane is kind of converted into, this big sort of seating area with a large space in the center for dancing. And at some point, there's going to be a clink of glasses, and everybody just starts going, speech, 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 speech. And, of course, Ash, they would like for you to say a few words, so what would you say?
So I'll stand up and I'll look at my sister and my best friend, and I'll start with, first off, I would like to thank everyone for coming today. This is truly a momentous occasion. My best friend has just married my sister. Two of the best people I know are taking a huge step in their lives together, and I couldn't think of two people more suited to each other than Yeg and Lox. I honestly don't really remember first meeting Yeg. He's just kind of always been there, my best friend since before I even knew what a best friend was. He stood with me through thick and thin, through happy times, and I could not think of a man more honorable, more supportive, or more loving than him for my sister. I know that, and I look at Lox here, I know that our parents would have full-heartedly supported your relationship, and even though they're not here today to witness it in person, I've got to believe that they know and they wish the best for the two of you, just as everyone else here does as well. Yeg, I know Lox isn't always the easiest person to get along with.
She definitely cuts you a look.
And I'm sure you will both go through some...
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
We
We missed part of that. Sorry.
Yeah, go back.
Oh, I said, I know Lox isn't always the easiest person to get along with. She cut me a look. And I'm sure you will both go through some fights, but I also know that your love is strong enough to endure anything no matter what, and you will come out stronger for it on the other side. I wish you both the best in your marriage, and I'm so proud of you.
Aw, very sweet. She immediately pulls you into a hug, which is rare for her. And Yeg gives you a big pat on the back.
I hug him. I hug both of them.
Absolutely. And Lox will just sort of look at you, kind of at arm's length. I don't know what to say. I don't think either of us, any of us, would guess that our lives would unfold in this way. And I know for a long time it felt like happiness wasn't really achievable. But it is. And I found it, and I hope that you have too. And every day I'm just so glad that we have each other and we are safe and together.
Lox, this was worth everything that we went through. I haven't told you this yet, but I had this moment where I could have said screw it all and just turned time back to before any of this happened. And I couldn't, because we've met all of these people, and you and Yeg are happy, and we've found this place in the world where we've obtained, I don't want to say pure happiness, but like, I have friends that I could never let down, and you're in a relationship now, and it's perfect. And no matter how much I wanted to just turn it back and save them, I couldn't. Because of you.
Yeah, she definitely has tears in her eyes. I don't think they would have wanted us to change anything. I think about it all the time. How that affected us. But if we always live looking at the past and thinking about what ifs and what could have beens, I don't think we'll ever truly reach the future or move forward. At least that's what I believe.
And that's why you're the best big sister. I should have listened to you more, Lux.
You really should. You really should have. But that's okay. We're making up for it. And we're together now.
Yeah.
And Yeg just sort of steps in. I'm just, thank you for letting me marry your sister. This could have gotten really weird, but I appreciate that it hasn't gotten weird, and this is gonna be great.
Yeah, there's literally no one more perfect for her. It couldn't be weird no matter what.
I think it could, but do you want a drink? I'm gonna go get some drinks for us, for everyone.
Perfect.
And he walks out to go get drinks. And the band starts playing and people start dancing. Is there any particular way that you guys are enjoying your evening aboard this ship and here?
I'm fully in the middle of the dance floor. Like, Tenari would be partying.
Yeah.
I feel like Ash is kind of on the sidelines, like just really soaking in everything and how happy people are, and just sort of basking in that. He has a dance with his sister at some point, but
Absolutely.
Is Shinar partying like she had that wild magic effect? The same level of intensity there, or?
I mean, I can roll if you want me to.
Bro, settle down, dude. Settle down.
Settle down. Oh, man.
Oh, man.
How many of you guys are drinking copious amounts of alcohol at this wedding?
Yeah, why not?
Why don't we have a nice... Look, we need a reason to roll.
Okay.
Let's
Let's get some Constitution saving throws.
Oh boy.
I'm throwing up everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That would go over really well with Lux.
Let's go down the line, shall we? So, Ash.
I got a 19.
19. Very
No.
nice. Tenari.
I got a 30.
You got it.
Damn.
I got a 19, and my con save is plus 11.
Wow. Amazing. Elzaris.
Sorry, goes hard.
I got a 21.
21.
Okay.
Wow.
Bro.
Mm-hmm.
Karok.
Mm-hmm.
I got a 4.
Chaos.
Chaos.
Karak is gonna be like
Slosh.
basically me when I'm drunk, which is just he's just affectionate and
Can I do
like
shots of Kara?
Oh my
like
God.
hugging people and like
Absolutely.
best friends with everyone.
Yes.
Aw.
Teo.
I think my mod is right. I put +8 because I think that's what my con saving throw is. I don't know my character's equal. So
Oh no.
it's at least, I think it's at least that, which would be 26.
26. All right. And Chad.
You're right.
17.
17.
Pretty good.
Really, everybody's doing pretty good except for Karok. So, guys, in your adventures, you've learned to hold your liquor. Karok, now that the adventures are kind of behind you, you're letting loose. So, you're dancing with strangers, hugging everybody. You're best pals with everybody on this ship, for sure.
Blessing everyone and their mother.
Yeah, dude.
Just
He's
casting
slurring his
random
blessings.
spells.
I love it.
Amazing. Yeah. Is there any I don't know, any other things that you guys would do as this celebration commences? No?
I'm sure there's something.
I want to watch Escher and Zephyr.
Yes!
Yeah.
Give us details.
Zephyr looks uncomfortable to be here and weirdly looks very awkward. He doesn't normally look awkward, and he looks awkward. Escher's having a grand old time. But they're talking, at least, so that's something. Every once in a while, you will see Zephyr attempt to cast something, and then he seems to get frustrated. What's everybody's passive perception?
15.
13.
22.
22. I think Chad is a high one, too.
Oh, 21. 21 actually.
16.
So Elzaris and Chad, you guys notice that every time Zephyr seems to try to cast something, Escher seems to cast something in reaction, and then Zephyr gets frustrated. So, hey, Escher is learning how to use magic. It seems like perhaps one of the only spells he knows is cast spell.
Honestly, a good one.
He is using it to make sure that somebody stays at this party. Hello. All right, thank you.
Hi!
They all say hi.
Hi!
Yes, it's my dinner. It has arrived.
Yay!
Ooh. DoorDash who?
Who is she? We don't know her.
We don't know her. We don't like her.
Gosh. Yeah. So, it might not be the most agreed upon date outing, but it's happening. So, all right. Is there any particular any other things?
I feel like in his drunken state, Karok would go up to Lox and Yeg, just like pull them aside and just lead them in prayer. And just say prayers of blessings on their marriage and
Absolutely.
petition the wild and have
Amazing.
Branch look over them,
Yes!
watch over them.
Yes, Branch is definitely there. I should have mentioned at the start. He honestly, probably instead of like a flower girl, they just had Branch.
That's so cute!
But yeah, absolutely. It's a little.
How's
I think Yeg is super into the, whatever family prayer you're leading. I think Lox is like, all right, somebody's had too much to drink. But, yeah, absolutely. Anything else?
How's Leaf doing?
Leaf seems to be in the corner of the deck talking to this drow boy.
Hey.
I'm gonna go say hi. What's that supposed to mean?
That's I need to quickly look up drow names. That's what that's.
Oh. Okay, I see.
Yes, she knows.
Sent that TikTok earlier, or not to. I think it was on Instagram, but still.
That was me.
Yes. Names, the greatest fear.
All right. So you walk up. Leaf sees you first and just gets kind of awkward. Oh, hey, Ash. Hi.
Hi, who's this Leaf? Keep in mind, I'm not like intoxicated yet, but I'm like happy. You know?
You're approaching.
Yes.
This is. Hang on.
Betty!
This is Imril, his friend, a friend, and that's it. You should go enjoy the party. The Imril extends his hand. It's nice to meet you. I've heard so much about you. Pleasure.
Pleasure to meet you too, Emerald.
Leaf tells me that you're quite the mage.
I have a lot of experience. That's what I'm saying. Because I feel like Ash still probably doesn't think he's like that great. You know what I mean?
Cast a spell that changed time. I'm not that great.
That's true.
Could you just like, I don't know. Could you show us something?
Oh God.
I've heard some decent things, and I think Leaf intends to study, but I think we both do. But we just don't know much yet. But
I'll make like mini fireworks happen using prestidigitation.
Let's go.
Most basic of things.
Yeah.
I mean, the least dangerous thing to do.
That is true.
Give me a performance check.
Okay. Let me go to my skills. Where's my performance at? So not good.
Do it at advantage.
Okay. That's a unnatural 20.
There you go. They're beautiful fireworks. Honestly, probably a little bigger than this spell normally allows, but you're so gifted, so it's fine. But Emerald and Leaf seem totally enthralled. More Emerald being enthralled than Leaf, let's be honest. I don't think Leaf's as impressed.
Leaf's like, can you go away?
Yeah, Leaf's like, all right, thank you, Ash, you can go now. But Emerald seems super impressed. Wow,
I'm gonna whisper to Leaf. Oh, sorry. You go. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say that was really impressive. I've not seen much magic close up, so it's honestly, I'm still trying to get used to being on an airship. I've not really done that either.
Ooh.
It's pretty cool. We've gotten a lot of experiences here on the Harpoo's Bane.
True.
What were you gonna say too?
I'm just gonna whisper to Leaf. So, when's the next marriage happening?
Stop!
Leaf is going to
What is he going to do?
Leaf just sort of elbows you in the side. Okay.
I'm gonna Misty Step to avoid the elbow.
Yes.
Okay, so suddenly you're like feet away.
Yeah.
Okay, Ash, I think, I think somebody's calling you. You should head over there and see what they're doing.
Turn around and wave with like this stupid grin on my face.
All right, goodbye. Thank you. This is so nice.
I'll say good meeting you.
But it's a great celebration. Y'all party and dance and eat and drink until the wee hours of the morning before you dock back in Romrath, and all your guests kind of stumble their way home. But it was a great time. With that done, I would like to take the rest of this time for y'all to kind of share what you think your characters would do after, having sort of defeated the great evil that was, and what you think your guys would be doing. You don't have to necessarily go into a ton of detail, but feel free to share what you want. We can go in whatever order. I've also written out some little epilogue things for some people too. So, but would anybody like to go first?
I'll go.
Teo.
Okay, so with Aurelia largely unthreatened, and with there being a certain vacancy sort of happening, Teo will go to Ballyran, or what Ballyran has become since, and kind of fill in Alfonso's sort of role there, and just like help with like all the fighters and stuff. And she would absolutely encourage her magic user friends to come as well, not only to visit, but for any of the other casters that might frequent the arena, because that's not her experience.
Absolutely.
So that would be, I guess, her thing. That's kind of as detailed as I have
You are
gotten.
greatly welcomed there. There's definitely a hole to fill, and you fill it quite nicely. And Alfonso in his older age was not quite as able to keep up with his fighters like he used to be able to. So you're able to kind of really show them the ropes in ways that they didn't realize before. Alfonso was tough on them, but some of his greatest fighting days were already behind him. That is not the case for you. So the kind of expectation... Oh, did we just lose?
Oops.
Everybody has to disappear briefly during their story.
All right. Oh no.
Rip. I honestly have no idea what the sound quality is going to be like on this recording. I have a feeling it's going to be... We'll find out. There you are. But...
I lost you after, you said, some of Alfonso's greatest fighting days were behind him. That's not the case for you. And then that was it.
Yeah, you're able to show them the ropes in ways that they didn't realize. And the kind of standard for the ability level of the champions and fighters of Ballyran reaches new heights under your leadership and tutelage.
Oh my god. Okay.
Is there anything else that you think Teo would do? I've got a couple things for your family if you want me to read them.
Yeah, because I feel like, I feel like she would like catch up with like Emery and stuff too, especially for him having been gone so long.
Yeah, absolutely. Emery does go home for a little bit, finally, returns home, but he almost immediately finds himself leaving again.
Yep.
After receiving word from Huladar that the surviving Durgar would really appreciate his knowledge and assistance as they try to kind of rejoin society in this world and try to find their way in this new planet. So that's kind of what he ends up doing. Your younger sister, probably would have been married before Lox had your mother not insisted that they have a much grander wedding than she probably initially wanted. So
God, that's so true.
It takes almost like half a year before they get around to their wedding. It's a grand affair, big outdoor, like farmhouse, southern-esque, rustic wedding. They invite the whole town. It's a whole thing, but it's a great time. They kind of welcome Roz into the family, and it's a nice, happy end.
Good.
Lovely. Anybody else who wants to go next? Any takers, or I'll call on you.
We could roll for it.
Yeah, we could roll for it. Well, everybody roll a d20. Highest goes next.
Uh-oh, d20. Oh, shit.
The one time you may not want to roll.
Literally rolled a 20.
Ash rolled a 20. Anybody get higher than that? No. All right, so let's go for our 20.
Okay, so obviously I'm gonna spend some time with my family.
For sure.
I missed a lot of that. I didn't get to spend a lot of time with them because of me being dumb. But I very much set out, and my goal is to eradicate all of the crystals from the world so that no one else can be tempted to turn back time or do any of that very dangerous magic again. So, yeah. Ash sort of becomes like a rogue agent that's... He's not going to, kill people or take ships down for it, but if a ship gets taken down, he's going to do his best to make sure that that crystal doesn't go back in.
Yeah. So over the course of the next few decades, the world sees the phasing out of airships. It takes a long time. And I think in some areas it's easier to get rid of them than others. But it does happen. No ship is spared in the eyes of Ash. In terms of your family, Ash, Lox and Yeg, they're pretty much made for each other. While finances may have been tight growing up, that is certainly not the case anymore. Yeg does get promoted to captain of the guard in Romrath, and Lox's elixirs booms as a business and becomes one of the leading producers and distributors of potions. Beck continues to work as a dock worker and eventually gets an apprenticeship with a carpenter in town, and he learns how to build and repair ships, a job he quite enjoys. Leaf continues his studies and eventually goes to Evanmire to study magic. He learns from Orion for a few years, then eventually joins the Court of Stars to work for Missa and Quaver Mocket.
Hey, yes. Does he get married?
I don't know.
Amanda. Okay, that's fine.
All right. Those remaining, roll again.
What?
11, 2, wait, guys.
Big money.
Oh, okay.
19.
Big money.
19, all right. MJ.
Okay, so my ideal plan would be to enjoy time with my family, of course. And although a lot of the time, what I start to realize is, although we're in this wonderful, beautiful place, and I'm working with my dad and working with my mom, spreading the good word, you know, I start to begin to get that itch for adventure again. And so I think really what I'd like to do is continue on my ventures with Karok and offer my services with him in order to work in his land, you know, especially with, they're going to be needing someone convincing in order to, work out the logistics of, you know, the family debacle that is unfolded. So that's where I'd like to really spend my time doing after that a good bit. So
That's so sweet. Your family, Chad. So your parents remain in Mirkmorn, where they kind of ended up after leaving Northbridge. And your father does establish a humble church to Torm. And together with your mother, they procure a small bit of farmland that's actually near Dolly's farm that she grew up on. They're pretty happy to be away from the hustle and bustle of Northbridge, and the rural life seems to suit them quite nicely. And they, of course, enjoy every moment they spend with you. But, you know, when you got that itch and you got to travel, they support you in that too. I think it's a little easier now knowing that there's not like a threat of some crime syndicate chasing you down or anything like that. So
I feel like I feel like what would happen is, you know, we're all set up and I send a letter to Karok, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, hey, this is an emergency. I need you to come visit me. Or I need you to write a letter of severe urgency to get me out of here.
Yeah, while your parents like the farm life, I'm not sure you do. Not in the same way. It's just Mirkmorn is very slow paced. It's just not, there's nothing exciting that happens in Mirkmorn ever. There's no politics, there's no like gossip. There's helping your dad at the church, or just like watching the crops grow. Like that's it. So yeah, for sure. I can see you like, I need to get out of here. Help me out here. But yeah. That sounds great. What else? Who's next? Roll.
I'd say 14.
14.
11.
11.
Nat 20, baby.
Elzarius, let's go.
All right. So ultimately, I want to go back to my family and make up for lost time. And then I think, like Chad, I probably even sooner, I'm probably going to be itching to get back out there. And I think I want to rejoin Oops, since I'm not blacklisted anymore.
Absolutely.
So go back to them.
Absolutely. You're able to rejoin Oops. After everything that you've done for the world, you're more than welcomed back. And there's been some sort of, over the years, there's been a bit of a change in the hierarchy and who's in charge. And you find yourself eventually getting promoted to the ranking of lieutenant, which is very nice. I'm sure it doesn't go to your head at all.
No, what would? Oh, and I'm still wearing my tiara.
Of course. Of course. Your sisters are doing well. They remain in Axrath, where they've always been. Your younger sister's health continues to improve slowly, but with the number of people that you know that are gifted in healing magic, it isn't long before you're able to kind of get her healed entirely.
Perfect.
Yeah. Cool.
Aww. Aww.
Great. All right. Tonari and Karak. Let's have a last roll off.
8.
10. Huh. Okay. So I sort of made a couple notes because I can't think on the spot. She would obviously go and spend some time with family first. She would, I'm guessing, go back with Kanari after he's recovered and sort of help facilitate that whole reunion.
So that's a little strange.
Yeah, a little bit.
Last time we saw you,
we thought you died.
Yeah, we thought you were dead. Oh.
Yeah, all the fun. But Tadari's very restless, so I don't think she would. I think she'd want to do a lot of things, but she wouldn't have like a set thing that she's stuck with for the rest of her life. She'd like kind of go between things. So I think first she'd kind of try to hunt down any straggling members of the Jade Enclave. And those who were like genuinely following them, she'd try to bring to some kind of justice. And like those who were like Kanari who were forced to participate, she'd try to like use her connections and get them with healers and stuff.
Yeah. And
try to set up like a she's not organized, so she'd get people to do it for her, but sort of set up like a VA therapy sort of thing for them, but like one that actually helps people.
Absolutely.
And then I think like, she would want to continue traveling a lot between Amarine and Morrigan both. So I think she'd probably approach Cass and whoever ends up in that power vacuum and Amarine about being like an emissary between the two so that she can help with the post-war stuff but still get to like travel a lot.
For sure. Absolutely. In terms of your family, you reintroduce Ko to the family, and Ko takes Reyna and Pierce back to Tylock with him and introduces them to the family. He puts his traveling days behind him. He uses what he's learned to help clear out the remaining corrupted growth from the Evermar Wood. Ko and Reyna eventually do settle down and probably get married. They'd probably live in a cottage on the edge of town. Ko doesn't really get out that often. He's not much of a socializer, but Reyna makes an effort to keep him active in town. She's quickly welcomed by the locals. Pierce ends up being a tremendous help on the farm. His presence helps kind of free up Dunari to travel if he wishes, and he would probably ask you to kind of show him around and take him to some cool places. He's the only
Nari siblings traveling part 2.
He's the only one that's not gotten out and seen the world, so
I would absolutely do that.
He's kind of eager for it. But yeah, absolutely. Very nice.
Yeah.
All right, Karak.
Okay, so I wrote a whole ass thing because coming up with shit on the spot is hard. And after a
Tell me about it.
quick edit, we've got this. So, following the defeat of Gunrak Thunderhoof and Karak's subsequent ascension to the chiefdom of Canarath, an envoy group led by Chadriel was sent to Koth Tarkur to both announce Gunrak's death and to offer a chance to rebuild, a proposal to reunite the Minotaurs and leave the infighting and conflict in the past. While some still voiced dissent, none could argue that Karak had proven himself in battle during the Dragon War and that the chiefdom was his right by blood. The two settlements reunified into one, and in a few short years, through the hard work of the Minotaurs and a bit of blessing from the Wild Mother, Kenarath grew from a small settlement into a bustling port town with a thriving agrarian economy supporting it. The more traditionalist, battle-hardened Minotaurs found work offering their services as hired guards for the trade ships and caravans that stopped through the trade, and those more suited to a simpler life themselves right at home raising sheep, pigs, chickens, and ducks, as well as growing grain for trade and for producing ale. Kenarath became known for a mixed berry ale made using the berries that grow on the low shrubbery in the area, with high demand coming from Northbridge as it became the signature drink of Duskhide's hideaway, much to the joy of Cousin Tonkar. Although now connected to the rest of Morrigan through trade, the city held on to its unique Minotaur culture and architecture, which drew a small but decent amount of tourism to Kenarath as well. In the forests to the south of Kenarath, Karak and his grandfather Akroth, along with several of the more devout worshippers of the Wild Mother, dedicated time to building and keeping a shrine to Melora. The Holy Days of the Wild Mother became officially celebrated festivals in Kenarath, with Chief Karak himself officiating and overseeing the festivals. As time passed, Karak kept in touch with the other members of the Mythic Six, and there was always a place at the table in the Grand Hall of the Chief's Longhouse for Chadriel, Ash, Elzaris, Teofila, and Tanari, and Dolly, of course. He was content with the achievements of rebuilding Kenarath and wouldn't trade it for the world, but there were times that he missed being the simple priest in their ragtag group of heroes. Although ever the reserved one when it came to expressions of affection, Karak's companions had become a second family to him, and he was eternally grateful for their friendship and did his best to reciprocate. And on each of their name days, a crate of mixed berry ale always managed to find its way to their doorsteps.
The chieftain peacefully passes to you, Karak, and your mother remains an active helper in the growth of Kenarath and the sort of absorption of Koth-Tarkur into your realm of power. Orthok and her do help you keep an eye on Koth-Tarkur until the animosity dies down. After about 5 years, Orthok is promoted to Vice Admiral of Oops when Galagal is elected Prime Minister of Morrigan. Rush assumes the role of Admiral, and of course Elzaris is now the Lieutenant. Koron proves to be a tremendous help around Kenarath, as he has really come to know and understand the people. While he may not have had the strength to be a leader himself, he certainly has the heart to be a caregiver. Your grandfather helps establish a shrine to the Wild Mother in Koth-Tarkur, but he finds that he has grown to prefer Kenarath and regard it as his true home. Very nice. Why don't we take a short break, and then I will read out any remaining sort of epilogue-ness that I have left of some of our beloved NPCs. Alrighty?
All right.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go through my list of NPCs and just kind of read off for everybody that we haven't tackled yet. So I will start with the crew of Harpy's Bane. So Dolly continues to fly for another 30 years, primarily flying y'all wherever you wish, whenever you want. If she isn't transporting you guys, she's normally transporting Mortimer or doing jobs for Zephyr. At the age of 65, she retires to Mirkmorn and tends to her family's farm, which is right next to Chad's little family plot of land. Pym flies with Dolly and Sid long enough to actually learn how to fly, but she starts making more money selling and smuggling things on the side. So she moves to Ronrath for a while, does a little work there, and then eventually heads up to Northbridge, where she kind of remains kind of staying in the more criminal realms of society, but that seems to work out for her, so that's what she does. Sid stays on Dolly's crew until she retires. Afterward, he becomes a bit of a drifter for a few years before eventually showing up on Dolly's farm one day, just sort of content to stay and mooch off of her. Let's see. We went through you guys. let's move down. Okay, we've sort of talked a little bit about Lilith, but I've written more out. So let me read that. So over the next 5 years, immediately following the war, Lilith's hold on Northbridge dwindles. People start to realize that her threats are hollow, and she is prone to bluffing. And she rarely is able to back up some of the things that she claims. Northbridge becomes more dangerous as this happens, and multiple violent gangs start to run rampant. After about 8 years, so only like 3 years after that sort of 5-year point, Lilith disappears, and Hush assumes the leadership of the Black Blades. The leaders of most of the violent gangs in Northbridge disappear virtually overnight. Few are sure what happened to them. While the crime syndicate of the Black Blades still runs the city, under this new leadership, under Hush's leadership, the city does become safer, quote unquote, and is once again a hub of industry, trade, and business. Wexlin. Wexlin prospers and continues to be at the forefront of invention and discovery. Due to their large number of ships, which can easily kind of either be airships or seaworthy, they make that transition into this new age pretty smoothly. And despite his anxiousness, Gideon Greensmith helps lead the argument for Wexlin and a number of cities to split from Amarine and form a new country. He helps establish the Federation of Thowel, and Gideon, believe it or not, is chosen to be its first leader. Casimir. Casimir's second term ends about 5 years after the war. In that time, he signs the Treaty of Wexlin, counsels and aids in the transition of Amarine into 4 separate countries. He sets up the groundwork for his own country to split amicably should it desire to, and he initiates the creation of the Aurelian Peace Accords, an alliance of nations formed to deter the notion of large-scale world wars. He retires to spend more time with his children and family, but he is regularly sought out for advice and counsel by the Republic of Morgan's following leaders, first of which being Galagal. Escher. Escher finds himself thrust into his own leadership position when the ruling lord of Bexhill is chosen to lead one of the new countries in Amarine. This would be Abrela. With no leader and no one that really has the pedigree for it, Escher is more or less forced to become the new lord of Bexhill. While an unconventional choice, he actually turns out to be surprisingly good at it. He's proven to be a skilled businessman and knows exactly what not to do thanks to his ex, Lord Strahd von Zarevich. So he knows exactly what not to do, which helps him figure out what he should do. He's more than capable of personally funding things that the city taxes are unable to cover, and love it or hate it, his growing franchise of brothels has brought him a decent-sized fortune. So, an unconventional choice, but Escher ascends to lordship and becomes a ruler of sorts. Zephyr. With no more war to concern himself with, or Casimir's safety to worry about, Zephyr throws himself into magical studies and the procurement of magical items and artifacts. He and Escher do date, on and off. Escher would tell you it's mostly on, but Zephyr would have told you it's mostly off. About 5 or 6 years after the war, however, he disappears from the public eye, and a few years after that, his market is waterbound and ceases to fly. Though I'm sure many of you have multiple questions over what's going on there, that, my friends, is a story for another time.
Ah.
Okay.
Cliffhangers. Hell yeah.
Oh my god.
Regardless of where the 6 members of the Mythic Six end up, your good deeds, your achievements are known by all. You are remembered across the land, and your victories will live forever in the minds of men. You are celebrities wherever you go, and whenever there is a threat, big or small, world-rocking or seemingly insignificant, you tend to be the first to be called upon. Everybody knows what you have achieved and what you have accomplished, and whether Amarine's side or Morrigan's side or whatever, as the world gets split off into so many different countries and places, generally everybody regards the 6 of you as the noblest and bravest and mightiest of heroes. And I am so excited about the next adventure that we will embark on together. So, to the next story, to, I don't know, just creating things with friends.
Here,
This
dude.
is legit the best freaking 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
Bro.
Wild.
Wild.
Wild is right.
All right, Misfits, and that brings us to the end of tonight's game and the end of this campaign. It is beyond strange to finally close this book, this story. It's been so fun, and it's weird to say goodbye, but I am so excited for the next chapter, and I hopefully have left just enough mystery and intrigue to pull you guys in. Till next time.